Okay, well, today is another great one, a fantastic one on That's Classic. Today we have an actress that I've been looking forward to talking to. She played Donna Mills' daughter, Olivia Cunningham on Knots Landing. She was also in the reunion film. She's been in Who's the Boss, Chips, and many more. So I'd like to welcome Tonya Crowe. Tonya, nice to see you.
Hi, John. So lovely to see you again. That was so much fun at the Hollywood show.
Yeah, I'm glad that we ran into each other actually. It was kind of fun. I was like, "Hey, we need to talk." So I want to know right out of the gates, did you and Donna have kind of a mother-daughter relationship offset as well, or was that just like you went your separate ways when, the scene was over?
No, definitely mother-daughter. She's so nurturing. She is such a sweet, like loving, nurturing, generous woman. And she didn't have any children at the time. So I
Right.
think that she really enjoyed having, because obviously she had her daughter Chloe. I mean,
Yes.
she adopted her, and and so um, I think that she really enjoyed that. Having that part of herself. Be have someone to give that love and support to.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so too. I,
yeah.
I agree with you. What do you remember your actual audition going back? Do you
Oh my
recall?
gosh. I was 9 years old. I actually don't recall the audition, but I will tell you something about the audition I know happened.
Yeah.
So I got my SAG card probably 3 years before that, right? So I was already auditioning for many, many shows. And
Yeah.
so we were used to getting the audition. And my mom was so excited. Oh my God, you got an audition for Knots Landing. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, you don't understand. It's on for a year. I guess it was on the season before. And she was hooked.
Oh,
So
funny.
she didn't get excited about many auditions. So that's what I remember. I was like, okay. I'm like, whoa, okay, this is kind of, strange for her.
Yeah.
And so it kind of like, I do remember being like, wow, okay, well, this audition has a little more weight to it than I'm used to, right?
Yeah.
Because my mom was really excited about me possibly getting this role. So the audition process, obviously I'm a brunette, she's a blonde, Donna. So,
Yeah.
they really did struggle to hire someone blonde, but I guess my performance or whatever it was that about me that they wanted, they said, you know what? She's divorcee, right? We haven't introduced the father yet, so we'll make the father look just like Tonya, with
That's
the dark hair
awesome.
and the blue eyes. So they made it work. So that's what I remember about the audition process for that show. So not particularly the audition itself, but
Mhm.
the circumstances around it, which were very cool. Yeah.
So once you got it, then did you realize? I realize you're only nine, and you were on it for well, I guess the rest of the run. And but did you realize how big it was then? I mean, I know your mom thought like, "Oh my gosh, this is great," but did you
Yeah.
have a sense once you were on the show like this is a really big show, or was it like
No, I
over
had
your
no,
head?
it was over my head. I mean, I just knew that I really liked the vibe. It
Hmm.
felt like when I walked on the set, because there's a lot of sets I've already walked onto, and I
Yeah.
was lucky. I had some really amazing set experiences.
Hmm.
So I had good experiences already, but this one, it was just like, it felt so fun and like the way I want. For me, acting has always been number one, fun, like
Hmm.
play, actual play, right? So sometimes, sets were a little bit more intense or serious or whatever. So as a child actor, it can be a little bit like, counter to maybe
Sure.
what we're bringing, right, as children. But this set was just like the adults, right? The adult
Hmm.
actors were having a blast making jokes off set, and like because it was a very well written show, and they could really like, like the job was easy in that regard. They just had to show up and do it. So I think that it was like for them being offset, they could actually, like play, like be silly and
Hmm.
goofy because it was just such an easy show to make because it was so well produced and well done. So, I mean, that's my take from an adult perspective looking back. But all I knew as a kid was, oh my gosh, like I can't wait to get to work,
Oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah, it was really fun. So there was a lot of playful, and also a lot of the actors were theater actors,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, so we had Julie, so Michele Lee, Julie Harris, I mean, I don't know. I mean, even Bill Devane, I don't know, but they had that kind of improvisational, that
Hmm.
theater vibe, which is also very playful because you have to be, it has a different, it's different than television. So I just thought like those aspects of the show and the cast just made it such a special and unique experience for me as a kid to continue that play. And
Hmm.
obviously, it's funny because my mom kind of warned me about the 7-year contract. She goes, okay, you got the job, but it's a 7-year contract, and I was like, oh my gosh, like
That's
that seems
half
like a
your
long
life at
time.
that point.
And then she says, well, she said, don't worry about it. There's not many shows that last that long. She goes, it's not, I mean, no show lasts that long or something like that. Little did we know.
Yeah, that's fantastic though. What a dream gig. So when I had Donna, I had Donna on actually for an interview. We had a bad sound though, unfortunately, and we still have to
Aw.
redo that interview. However, Donna spoke in that interview about. I asked her like, what were some of her most, like her favorite episodes, most emotional moments, and actually, it was the one with you. It was with, and I believe you were on drugs or there was an issue with drugs, and she was
Yes.
talking you through the bedroom door. She almost, in fact, I think she breaks the bedroom door down, something like that. Do you recall that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, that was an amazing storyline.
Before we go on with the interview, I just wanted to remind you to please subscribe to That's Classic if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so that you'll know when my next episode is being released. Okay, let's go on with the interview.
And it also was very timely. I don't know if you remember in the 80s,
Mhm.
there was the, Just Say No
Yep.
drug campaign. And, people were really kind of addressing drug issues as a nation
Hmm.
and as a people and as a society. And I just think that, they really wanted to show a character on the show that you wouldn't have expected that issue
Mm.
from so that they could portray my character, my family, obviously Donna and my brother, like this family going through, unfortunately, an issue that a lot of families,
Hmm.
were going through at the time. So they really did want to have um, that storyline to to address.
Hmm.
And and it's funny because I feel like fans in general, whether it's their immediate family or someone in their family circle, everybody could relate to some version of addiction and some
Certainly.
version of a person looking to something like that for and a parent going through a child and feeling the helplessness
Hmm.
and yet still trying to figure out how am I going to make this better and get us on a different track and all that. So I find that storyline is still one of the most powerful ones that people come, and speak to us about and just say, thank you so much for having, for doing that for us, because you really did help us feel not alone in our situation. And
What? Oh,
that's
go
pretty
ahead.
amazing. Yeah. That,
No, that is really amazing. What I was thinking though, I have an acting background, and so
yes.
I look at it from kind of both ends of it, both as a fan, also, from an acting perspective. You're a young person here, in a pretty heavy part. Uh, where did you go, like as an actor, to kind of bring the realism to it that you did? Because I mean, really, I'm not just saying that you were very good in your role. I mean, really very believable.
Thank you. I mean, my whole thing is imagination. So
Hmm.
I just use my imagination. So what I do is I imagine. And obviously, my thing, I had never even like seen a drug like that,
Hmm.
let alone used it. Um, so I didn't have a personal experience to go by. Whereas some of like the divorce, right? Coming from a divorce, my parents were divorcing literally the year that I got this job.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So a lot of that divorce storyline when I'm younger, and the pain
Mhm.
and the that was genuine. So I didn't have to, use much imagination, but I still like to create characters that I'm able to use my imagination, that they are different than me. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? So I
Oh, it
bring
totally
myself
does.
to
I
it, right?
understand.
But they're, you know what I mean? As an actor, what I enjoy is not really, I mean, method is cool and I love that. And
No, I get it.
I get that emotionally, but in the end, I actually enjoy imagination
Hmm.
aspect of acting the most.
Yeah.
So I'll use that. So that's basically how I did it, was just using imagination to prepare for the scenes, and allowing myself to be in that circumstance
Hmm.
in that imaginary way and see what happened. Does that make sense? So I just allowed myself to imagine it being true, and what would that be like for me, and that's where that my performance came from. So maybe that is why maybe people like it, is
Hmm.
because I was willing to go to something and be in a circumstance that have never been in, and allowed myself to put myself there, and see what happens.
Yeah. And when you're playing off somebody like Donna Mills or
Exactly.
any of these actors like you mentioned, William Devane or
Yes.
any of
Joan
them,
Van Ark.
Joan Van
My
Ark, Michele
character was
Lee.
Val. Michele Lee being my aunt.
I mean,
I
come
had
on.
these amazing people that were like, brought so much, weight to the scene. So all I
Yeah.
had to do was just step in and
Yeah.
just be there, and just match them with what I had to offer. What I had to bring.
Which out besides Donna, what other, I guess member of the cast did you always enjoy having a scene with? Like you almost look forward to it.
Joan Van Ark for sure. Uh, you know, uh, Brian Austin Green was fun too. That
Oh
was
yeah,
later
that's right. I
on.
always forget about that.
Because he was such a cutie, and you know, I, Ted Shackelford, Gary, he
Mhm.
was, he has a really, really dry sense of humor. So I was always like on my toes with him. I did enjoy my stuff with Paul Carafotes, Harold, my husband. It was a little bit awkward just because there was, that was really the first time I explored, a romance on set and on
Yeah.
stage. So it was, there were moments of it that were, understandably uncomfortable because it was so new, and I didn't, and being in a public space, having to portray, drug abuse was easier.
Isn't that funny?
Isn't that funny? Yeah. So that was, there was always and also just, becoming a woman in front of people,
Hmm.
from a young girl, is uniquely
Oh,
uniquely vulnerable, or
very much
uniquely,
so.
yeah. So not many people actually do that. Like
Mhm.
literally, I went from 9 to 19. So think
Yeah.
about all those years,
Yeah. And
right?
these people
And
know
every
you.
year is its
Yeah.
own little like thing. So I have a very unique story in that, I think. So I try and like, give myself a little like leeway, and just be like, you did the best you could. But there were years that were more difficult than others. And also just feeling, it's so sad because when you're a young girl, sometimes you look at yourself and you just you don't see yourself, you see
Right.
yourself like in an unrealistic way. So, but people would never think, like, even as an actress, like, oh, whatever, whether it's the beauty outside or the beauty inside of who you are,
Hmm.
and trying to figure out, like, you obviously want your character of a person to be the dominant part of you. So it was just building myself, up, and my character, and, appreciating the youth and beauty that I did have,
Hmm.
was, it's like it's a lot to, you know, um, do in public. So it was, so when I came to the end of the road, and the show, taking that break had so many facets to it, that I needed to do for myself as a person. And people wonder, well, where'd you go, or what'd you do? But I just, my leaving the business for a little bit was just in my mind, temporary at the time, but I didn't know that it would take me onto another journey in
Hmm.
my own, character
Yeah.
and exploration of life and what my passions are and what my, how I can, uh, affect people positively, because
Hmm.
that's always something I've wanted to do, is just be a light in the world,
Sure,
and
sure.
just my light, just shine my
Hmm.
light, and
I
however I
understand.
do that. And so it happened to take a turn away from Hollywood, but I had this amazing, Hollywood experience for the majority of my childhood.
Yeah, I think too, it's funny as you're talking about that, I didn't even think of that. I'll be honest with you. I was so focused on your part and your time on the show and all of that. But that is a very unique time actually to go from 9 to 19. Knots Landing pretty much is your life during that
Hmm.
time, a lot.
Yeah,
And then you step out and you're not acting anymore and you're a 19-year-old woman. And it's like, yeah, but did I actually experience all the things that someone experiences from 9 to 19 in a quote unquote normal life, whatever that is? And
exactly. And
so,
the truth is, thank
yeah,
God, I did experience a lot. Like, I was able to go to high school, school. I didn't do school on set. I did set school when I worked, but I maintained, I graduated from a high school, private high
oh, did
school.
you?
I graduated from the le lycée français. But that school, you couldn't go to like a regular school because their whole system, they couldn't deal with, like, a truancy in a sense.
Right.
So you did have to, if you were a professional actor, you had to do something a little bit different. So a lot of these private schools could, facilitate you graduating, getting the schooling that you need, facilitating getting you the work and all that, and not have to deal with like the bureaucracy of, of public school or something like that.
Right.
So,
Right.
so a lot of the professional kids that wanted to attend a regular school life did like the lycée or Crossroads or, different other private
Sure.
schools.
I know.
So, but I would get a 5:30 call AM, and if I was the first setup, and I was done by 8, I'd go straight to school.
Wow.
I mean, do you see what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
I could, so, and I was not the star of this show, thank God. So because I
Right.
was a supporting actor, whatever, I was able to balance school life and work life. So it did, there was a lot of experiences that I did have that were normal, but how normal can it be when you're, like on a popular show, you're
Yeah.
dealing with like things that are like not normal in that regard, as far as just, having, anonymity or whatever.
Yeah. Did when you were at school, by the way, did everyone know who you were, so to speak? Did everybody go, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's Olivia Cunningham from..."
Yes, but you know what? Well, they were Sophia Coppola, the son of
Right,
Francis. You
that's
see what I'm
right.
saying? So what was wonderful about it was everybody was like someone, whether it was like Noah
Right.
Hathaway, right? So like, or Molly Ringwald, right? Or Jodie Foster, or Olivia Cunningham, right? I wasn't Jodie Foster, right? I mean, she went before me, but you get what I'm saying. So I went to a
Yeah,
school where everybody was some,
right.
either a child of somebody or whatever. So, no big deal. But yes, that would have been different, I think, in a public school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it became, and that's good. You don't want to be like,
Hmm.
like, like treated like that, because it's not real, I mean,
Right. How was it when you were in public, by the way? Were you in a situation where a lot of people recognized you, or were you able to have, a life, so to speak?
yeah. I mean, there was definitely recognition, but I mean,
Hmm.
like I said, I was not a huge star. And I think that was to my benefit.
I was going to say maybe that was a blessing.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing the Ricky Schroders and I mean, he ended up being, thank God, totally cool. But I'm just saying, or, even like an Alyssa Milano, I
Right.
mean, she was more of a star. I'm just trying to think of some of the stars of their shows. They had a little bit more, I could kind of, I liked my, my lane. My lane was fun because it was enough to kind of, be fun, right? And meet people
Yeah.
and have that experience, right, of being recognizable or whatever, and having fame. It's a very interesting little superpower. Not everyone
Yeah.
experiences it. I enjoyed it, but I didn't have it in a tidal wave form. So, I mean, it was like actually really like a perfect little blend.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I really do because
So people
it is
would come
funny.
to me, yeah, like if I was at dinner, you know, they would like, you could tell if you've been recognized, and then you could tell if they're like, should we say something, should we not, you know, then they would like wait till the end of the dinner, and then they're like, okay, just real quick, you know, so they'd be go, hi, you
Real
know, I just
quick.
wanted to say, you know what I mean, and it's like, I'm like, oh, you know, thank you so much, you know, because I was like, and they're like, oh, thank you, okay, and then I mean, because I was the same way with other, you know, I would do that with someone else, like,
Sure.
is this a good time, is this not a good time, you know, so it was fun.
That's fun.
But for
What
the most part, I'm a people person. I like meeting people. I like watching people. I like, you know, I like humanity in general. Like I'm fascinated by it. So it's
yeah.
like, to me, it was just like a cool thing that I could meet more people than I probably would if I didn't do what I did. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of
Yeah.
how I saw it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I get to get more interactions with different human beings. Because, you know, I think about it like, I think about the billions of people that are in the world, and that in my lifetime, I'm only going to meet like a drop of them ever.
Literally.
And I'm just like, oh, you know what I mean? Like a part of me wants to like meet every single human being that exists. I mean, obviously that's not going to happen, but you get what I mean? Like,
Yes.
so the fact that I, you know, have a little bigger drop of meeting people in the world because of what I did and the experience that I had and the craft that I chose to, you know, to practice and to learn and to, you know, and I had an opportunity to do it in, you know, in a way that was broadcasted, right? It's
Mhm.
like pretty cool, you know, like,
It's very cool.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So, um, well, actually, I've got a couple questions. But the first one you just made me think of is why did you actually make the decision to start acting? Was it your idea? Was it your mom's?
It
What
was my
it
idea.
was? What happened? Do you remember?
I
Like, were you?
mean, I have to go by what my parents told me,
Sure, of
but
course.
they claim that when I was around 4, 4.5, 5, somewhere in there, I would, you know, like come out in the living room and do something, you know, kind of perform, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And they were like, okay, okay, you go. You know? Then I started like wanting, you know, like they said that I literally would point to the TV and I would say, I want to do that. I want to be there.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
you know, and it took them a while to like figure out, you know, that it was like acting, right? They were like, they could kind of like, they were like, okay, do you want to act? And I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. Like I want to, you know. So we did stuff in the garage or whatever. I think they like helped me put on like little performances for the neighbors and stuff. But then I kept really like insisting that the TV, you know, and now that I know myself, like I am a visual, like a lot of my things that I create in my life are, I see them first.
Hmm.
Like I have visions. So I guess that's what happened, but I didn't realize, like, you know, I obviously, so I think I probably saw myself on
Hmm.
TV. Does that
Yeah,
make sense? Like that's what I
yeah.
think happened. Um, and so my father was a principal at a junior high school in Compton,
Oh my gosh.
or maybe it was Inglewood at the time. Yeah. So he was a really cool guy, and he was a beautiful principal, and the kids loved him. And he was in these neighborhoods, Compton and Inglewood, as like a, you know, counselor, then vice principal, and then eventually principal for a long time.
A big job.
Crozier Junior High. And he was like, you know what? To my mom, you know what? I think there's a kid that does do commercials in my school. Let me reach out to the mom and just see what she says. And so the mom was like, oh yeah, they'll see her because child agencies, they'll see any kid, right?
Oh,
So she goes, oh
totally.
yeah, 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 I'll give you a number. They'll, you know, they're up in Hollywood because at the time we lived down south, like in La Palma, Lakewood area.
Uh-huh.
And so she said, yeah, like, and it happened to be there's only 3 major agencies at that time, like kids agencies, and it happened to be one of them, like the big
Oh
one.
my
But we didn't
gosh.
know. So basically, they called. My parents called and they said, "Oh, sure, we'll see her." So we set an appointment. We went up there in the afternoon, probably like 4ish, 3:34 after school, something like that. And they knew right away that it was, they know self motivation and parent motivation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They know it. So
Yeah.
they were like, oh my God, okay, this kid is like, you know, I mean, she's doing her thing. And then they said, oh, try this one and try this one. And they could see that I could read way beyond my age, which I do have good reading skills. So I could read and I could memorize, but more importantly, I was like into it. So
Exactly, which is huge as a kid. Huge.
exactly. So
Yeah.
they thought they struck gold because they were like, oh my, because it is really cool when they get a kid that's like, you know, like
Oh, definitely.
self-motivated. So they were like, but then they had to break the news to me. They were like, okay, well, we'd love to send her out tomorrow, but there's a union and you can't just become part of the union. You got to become SEG. You got to go through extras, right? And then, so what we're going to do is we're going to put her on the sets. She's going to do these extra roles. She'll be in the
Interesting.
background and she'll get vouchers. And then if you accumulate enough vouchers, once you accumulate enough vouchers, then she can get a SAG card. Okay. So it doesn't take that long. It should take about, half, I don't know the exact time, but basically,
Right.
and then she'll get her SAG card. Once she's a SAG member, then we can send her out, for the principal roles, whatever. So needless to say, when I was on my first set, my second set, my third set as an extra, I was like looking at all the other kids that were doing the talking roles. And I kept being like my mom, I was like, when am I going to be able to talk? She's like,
Yeah.
when you get they already explained this to us. I was like, I'm like, okay. So I got, I was kept
You got
expressing.
motivated.
Yeah. So, but I was on the set of Charlie's Angels as an orphan in the episode, the Seance, which is, I guess, I had no idea, but in the Charlie's Angels world, this is like one of their favorite, episodes. They all go when they find out that I'm this girl, that I'm this character. They go, Beamish, right? And I'm like, yeah, that was the line. Like, they totally know this episode. It's so funny. So Kelly gets hypnotized in this episode, who's Jaclyn Smith. Right. And she goes back into her hypnosis, into her childhood, and she's an orphan with this horrible woman that's running this orphanage, and she has this little doll, and she's in a closet, and she's scared. And so I was on the set, and the girl that got hired to do this role, the Jaclyn Smith as a young girl role with obviously the dark hair and the blue eyes, she got into like a fender bender. And they were on a time thing. They couldn't wait for her. So they picked out all the kids that had the coloring. And I think there was 2 or 3 of us. So they handed us scripts and they're like, can you read this? Can you read this? Can you read this? So I was just like, you
were waiting for that. Right? Yeah.
I was like, yeah. And it was a dramatic role and you had to cry, whatever. And they were like, oh my gosh, she's so much better than the girl we hired. And so that was, but the only other way you could get your SAG card in that time was if this exact thing happened.
Meaning
a show had to promote you from an extra to an acting role. So I guess, desire does pay off.
Yeah.
You make stuff happen. But yeah, so that was within a couple of, so my agents were like, yes. So everything just kind of went into full gear faster than everyone anticipated.
Oh my God.
And then that was it. And then I started auditioning and I got some amazing roles with like Natalie Wood. I played her daughter in the Cracker Factory when I was like maybe 8 and I got a bunch of episodics and commercials. And I was just like working way before Knots Landing.
Yeah, no, I noticed that on your resume. By the way, let's talk about Natalie Wood. Come on.
Oh my God.
Yeah, what was she like? You're from an 8-year-old's perspective.
No, honestly.
Yeah.
Like she was so beautiful. I remember just being like, but her beauty was like, it was just like, so, oh my gosh, I can't even explain it. It was like, just such a late, like feminine, you know what I mean? Just the femininity was just like, and she's so little, like her waist is so little, like she was just so petite, but yet her energy was like, you know what I mean? She reminded me of my dad a little, like my dad was like really like kind of 5'7", little, but his presence was just really big, and she had that too. Like, it's just, it's funny. A lot of stars are like kind of small.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's kind of interesting.
It is.
Because, they fill up stadiums, right? But it's funny. The Prince. Think about these stars.
I agree with you.
Madonna. These huge stars. I'm thinking mostly music.
Tom Cruise isn't that
Tom
tall.
Cruise.
Yeah.
It's just very interesting, but they have this bigger than life presence. But
Oh yeah, big time, big time.
But yeah,
See,
so and she was just oh, I mean, just kind and loving. And it turns out that she took me, oh my, she supported my career unbelievably. Like then I got another movie of the this was a movie of the week, The Cracker Factory, but then The Memory of Eva Riker was another movie that I did with her that ended up being like a mini series. You know how they have like 2 night specials?
sure.
Excuse me. 2 night specials with like all-star cast as well. Roddy McDowall and Morgan Fairchild and Robert
Wow.
Foxworthy. Robert Foxworthy. I mean, it was huge. And I played, so she played her character as an adult, and she played her mother in flashbacks when I played her, right? But this was funny because just like with the Donna Mills thing, the dark, like the light hair, right? They had to like compensate for that. But that was, they obviously knew they had to. I got the role in The Memory of a Riker. I was signed contracts. I went in to meet, I think it was Irwin Allen, the
Oh,
producer Irwin Allen, right?
come
I go into his
on.
office, right? Okay. And it's like this huge office, and I walk in and he's like, thank you, you know, we're so happy to, you know, have you. And he like puts his arms out and I go up to, you know, like give him
Yeah.
a hug. And he's like, and he goes, you have blue eyes. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you have blue eyes? Like no one noticed that I had blue eyes.
What?
And Natalie has, I mean, the most beautiful brown eyes ever, right? They're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. What do we do? What do we do? So they were like, what are we going to do? At the time, so it turns out they had to do something. Either rehire, right?
Yeah. But Natalie wants you.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Natalie, the whole show, right? So what do they do? Okay, they have a special effects department that at the time they were doing special effects for like creatures, you know,
Yeah.
but they were doing it where they would affect the whole color of the right hard, but they only had at this time soft lenses did not exist.
Oh my
So they
God.
actually created hard lenses that were big enough to cover the eye, but you had to, I mean, the people that had to wear these, the actors that had to wear these, you had a wrangler, you had to deaden your eye. You had to numb the eye. You can only wear them for like 30 minutes at a time. I mean, it was literally torture. Like
Oh,
without the eye
sounds
being dead.
terrible.
I mean, think about it. Like the hard contact was already hard enough to get used to, but people would. But that's the size of the iris, right? But I mean, the pupil. But then this was the eye, or the whole color of the iris. So they, and let alone a little girl.
Yeah.
But that's what I had to do.
Oh,
So I
you
had to
did
like,
have to do that.
yes, I had to wear these. Oh wait, are we okay? Because I'm
You're
getting
okay. It just flashed for a second. You're fine.
okay. So
Yeah.
we had to, yeah, they had to have a person on set, deaden my eye, put the contacts in, take them out. I can only wear them for a certain amount of time. I mean, it was insane.
Was it scary as a kid?
Oh yeah, but I had already. But it's funny because I'm like I wear glasses, and I had already like I was about like it introduced me to wearing soft contacts. So when I did have to wear soft contacts as a person, it was like it was super easy. You know, like
Yeah.
I can touch my like I can have everything come to my eye.
Right.
But yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it was like, you know, they're like, don't blink, and they'd have to like open my eye. I mean, it was crazy.
Oh, that's crazy.
And
That's
I had
pretty
to act
cool.
with that. Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that Natalie Wood, a massive star, backed you. I mean,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. And they made it work. Then years later, the show Oh God, the movie Oh God was being
Yes.
cast. And I guess at the time, you know, these movies with these like starring children weren't that big. So
Hmm.
when this one came out, everyone was talking about it and da da da. And so she insisted she called the casting and said, you have to see this actress for this role. And it turns out like I was like 3 years too, you know, young.
Yeah.
But because, you know, they weren't about to tell her that, they were like, of course, of course. And so she gets the okay that they're going to see her. But then she goes an extra step and she brings a headshot of mine physically to the casting office.
Come on, Natalie Wood is doing this.
Natalie Wood. I mean,
Wow.
that's the kind of person she was.
Hmm.
Like, that's the
Wow.
kind of support she gave me. Just like amazing.
That's just fantastic. That's a great story. Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you. I
Yeah.
know, right?
You're
I'm like,
very, very lucky. Very lucky. Wow.
and I did happen to see her 3 weeks before the accident
Hmm.
because she was on Brainstorm and they shot on Lorimar. They were on the same studio as Knots Landing. So when I found that out, I reached out and they said, "Of course you can come. Oh my God, she would love to see you." And I went and I saw her and I was able to spend time with her. And it had
Hmm.
been years since we worked together.
Oh, thank goodness you were able to
I
see her
know.
before.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's tough. That's a tough one. Boy. So I mean, you must have literally been in shock then, three
Oh
weeks
yeah,
later.
no, it was, I mean, I really was hard to wrap my head around the fact that it happened. I mean, I was just like, what? And I really, the only deaths that I really had experienced were illness, so
Hmm.
I had that version of losing somebody that I cared about through like a process,
Sure.
but I had never experienced something shocking like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's unreal. It's still unreal, to be honest with you. It's
I
still,
know,
my
I
brain
know.
still tries to wrap down. So I'll tell you what, let's talk a little bit, going back to Knots Landing, because I know I'm going to get my Knots Landing subscribers going, okay, I love this story.
Yeah, of
Could you
course,
talk
of
a little bit
course.
more about Knots Landing? I love it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to find out what, when we talk about the cast, like, Michele Lee or Joan Van Ark, what are your memories of them? Like, I guess offset, what were they like Michele Lee? Why don't we start with Michele Lee?
Oh, Michele Lee. I mean, she was so like uh she's like a entertainer. I mean, like she had such a like like the mayor, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like just, very like 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 engulfing everybody. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
this, yeah, like very embracing and cooperative, or what's the word? Like um she just brought everyone together.
Yeah.
Um Joan Joan was so like uh full of care and conscientious.
Uh-huh.
She knew everyone's birthday. I mean, I'm talking about like, the crew. I mean, everybody,
Wow.
right? And would do something special for everyone.
Mm.
Little things like that. Just so like, you know, um,
Uh,
like, yeah, just super caring. And Donna was, she, I mean, she's like so sweet. Like you think of
mhm.
Abby, like her sweetness is like,
Yeah, yeah,
even like the fact that she played Abby Ewing, and I mean, just this vixen and this whatever. And I think she enjoyed it because it was so not her. You get what I
right,
mean? Like
right.
it's just, yeah. So it's funny how she got to really do this role, but Offset, she was just like, it's kind of like, it reminds me of a Goldie Hawn playing a ditz. Like
Right,
Goldie Hawn's known for being like so super bright and brilliant and
right.
intelligent, but she plays a ditz, right? And that's what people believe her as, right?
Yep.
So I feel like if Donna played who she was, it would be like, I don't buy it.
Yeah, yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Because
I
I
do.
love that as actors, sometimes we buy who they are full
Hmm.
on, but other people play opposite of like not who
Yeah,
they are. If they were to play who they are in life, we would be like, I don't know. Like even though that's who they are, they're
yeah,
meant to act and portray something different.
yeah.
That makes sense, yeah. So
It
I
makes
feel
total
like
sense.
my character was like a little half and half. Like I felt like who I was, I really didn't portray myself. I kind of portrayed, like I feel like I have a lot more sense of humor. I'm a little bit more, effervescent.
Hmm.
Where to me Olivia was a little more like heavy. But I
Yeah,
also think that as a child I was a little heavier. I've become lighter with time and with age, thank God. But yeah, so but it's interesting how, there's certain aspects of our personalities that, and Ted, like to me, Ted Shackelford was also very different than Gary, but similar. Like he was like more like me, a little bit of him, a little bit of a character, but
Yeah.
his real sarcasm and his real um, like, he didn't portray, Gary didn't have much of that. Gary was a little more, he was really strong, like Gary, I don't want to call him like weak or wussy, but I mean, that's not true. But you know what I'm saying? Like
I
Gary
do
had a
know what you're
different,
saying. I know the
you know what I
character.
mean? Like Ted didn't have that. Like that wasn't, off the set. Ted was like a lot,
Yeah.
but Bill Devane is Bill Devane. I feel, he is who he is, right? He just does him. And it's so cool,
Oh
but
yeah.
I've never, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not that familiar with stuff that he did other than Knots Landing, but to me, he was, I mean, he was great. I mean, he's a great guy. Um, who else? I mean,
What about
this was the
Kevin
main.
Dobson?
Oh, Kevin. Oh,
Yeah.
he's so. God bless. God rest his soul. He's. Just salt of the earth. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, just like. And also, I felt like I never did this, but I felt if I did need to talk to somebody, I could go to him.
Oh, how
You know
interesting.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
even though I didn't use him in that way, I didn't take advantage of that. But I
Yeah.
always felt that if I needed something from an adult, and from a man, and from a, I could go to
Hmm.
him. Does that make sense?
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool. That says a lot
yeah,
about him.
yeah.
Yeah, that really does. That was a
But I
cool
think
break.
that's the case with everybody, for me at least.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
felt very, I felt like everybody had, had a spot for me in them, that if I ever needed them in any capacity, that they were
Sure.
there, and I think that we all kind of held that for each other as actors, but also as people, which is really special. Like
That is very special.
when you feel like a set has your back, not
Hmm.
just professionally, but personally, there is, that's a very, that's a great set to be on.
Yeah. I remember in the interview with Donna that she mentioned that Bill Devane, one thing that she loved about working with Bill is every time they would do a take, she never knew
Oh,
what the heck was going to happen.
oh yeah, I could see that because he's mischievous. Right. And I love mischievous people. Yeah, I'm like that. It's funny because I have that. I'm a tennis player. I
Yeah.
play tennis. And when I'm on the courts, like no one ever knows what's gonna come out of my mouth. And I'll just like throw something out or say something, like either like, with like a sexual innuendo, or I mean, I'll make fun, like I'll say that, and people
Yeah,
are like, "What?"
totally.
I'm like, "What did she just say that?" And so Bill Devane for sure has that part of him, and I think I like that about him.
Yeah.
As a young girl, and I was like, "Oh, okay," because being provocative, it's fun. If you have it in you, you find places to do it. But he definitely would do it. He was provocative, yeah.
I got it.
And
Would
I
you?
think Nicolette had that a little bit. Nicolette was a little like
Yeah, I was
that.
gonna ask about
Yeah,
Nicolette. Yeah.
yeah. She's super sweet. Super. She's also another one that plays like this whole, but she had a very sweet nature too. Um, but
Wow.
you wouldn't believe that about her, I don't think either. Like
I know. She has a
as a
totally different
character.
image.
So there's a few characters that exactly it's like an image and whatever, and you just like it's just not believable, even though that's who they are.
Yeah, yeah. Do you I was just thinking about this. You were on the show nine to age 9 to 19. Big part of your life. It's a hit show. It's kind of almost one of those iconic shows. It's up there like Dallas or something like that, you know? Um,
Oh, by the way, Harold is another Paul Carafotes is who he is, which is cool.
oh,
Like who you know what I mean? Like remember I
yeah,
was saying there's some people that just do them,
yeah.
like he does him, which was not, that was fun.
That's cool that he's really like that.
I mean, meaning he, like his, yeah, like he offset onset, he's kind of has the same vibe, and he portrays that well, and people believe that about him.
Okay, that's kind of fun. So the fact that you were on there though from 9 to 19, and this is a big show. It's not like, you were on a show and people are like, I kind of remember that. Everybody knows Knots Landing. Um, did that also affect you kind of like stepping away? Because you weren't just on a show, you were on like a, I mean, there was a point where Dallas, Knots Landing, they were almost like events, I mean, did you feel like, a little bit of, I don't know, overwhelming or burnout or just, I don't know, just like, okay, this has been a wild ride. Maybe I need to step away, or what was going through your head when you
Mm,
did step
mm,
away?
yeah, no, I mean, I kind of feel embarrassed to admit this, but now that you're asking me, I kind of didn't realize how
Hmm.
big it was. Um,
Maybe that
I
was good.
yeah, I kind of did, but also because I think that my life off the set was very normal. I mean, most of my friends were my school friends or people that I've known for, since I was little. And I don't know, or maybe I just denied it.
Hmm. Sure,
I
sure.
maybe went into denial, but either way, I didn't really, or I mean, people could say I didn't embrace it, and
Mhm.
that's true. I don't think I did fully embrace the experience, like what it was for whatever reason.
But
And
maybe
maybe
that's
it was
good.
because I was a child. Does that make
Hmm.
sense? Like I had a
Sure.
lot on my, like just developing, you know what I mean? Just growing up is hard enough already.
It
So
is.
maybe I only handled what I could handle to fulfill my job and do my work and portray. But anything above and beyond that, I probably just went, like just cut off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here I'm going to focus on, other stuff.
Hmm.
And I had a beautiful childhood, like outside of, my private life was good, but I had situations that didn't happen to me that I did need to deal with. So I just feel like when they let me go, because I did sign a second year contract, right? So I had a
Oh,
7 year, then I had a 2 year, then I signed another 2 year. But at the end of the first year of the second year contract, they said we're gonna let you go.
hmm.
But I was more than ready. I didn't even know, I was contemplating whether I even wanted to do the second
No
year
kidding. You were ready to
because
go.
I would, because I just, yeah, I just needed a break. But you got to remember, I was working since I was 5. So even though
Right.
I did the show at 9, I, I'd been a professional actress for, 15 of my
Right.
19 years,
So was it
or
a
almost
point of
20
like
years.
burnout, or was it a
Yeah,
point where you're
yeah.
just
I mean,
like, I'm 19 and I'm
yeah,
starting
I
to
mean,
feel
not,
different?
yeah, I wouldn't call it burnout. Maybe it was, but it was also just, like, wow, like just a break,
Uh-huh.
just a pause, you know. Um, and I did go to school. I went to UCLA, and I, went to pool halls at like 11 o'clock at night till 3 a.m. Things that I
Oh,
couldn't do
you had
because I,
fun. Yeah.
you know, and like, slept in and, you know, uh, other things that I just, didn't really experience as a kid and
Yep.
wanted to kind of, try and do, whether it was, and also with sport, like also like adventurous stuff, because there were certain things you didn't feel like you're not, you're not really, I mean, you're replaceable, everyone's replaceable, but
Sure.
I felt an obligation to like make sure that I stayed somewhat safe about certain things
Yeah,
because
don't break your nose, don't whatever,
right,
Yeah,
exactly. So there was, you know what I mean? So just little
sure.
things, things that maybe sport wise that I wanted to do or, activity wise that I never, So I'm just saying all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't, I mean, burnout's one thing. Like I think burnout was an aspect of it, but it was also the bigger aspect was other things to do. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Experiencing
Hmm.
other life.
You're 19.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So did you at any point really miss it and say, "Oh, I've got to go back and act," or had you
I
hit
mean,
the
it would happen every once in a while. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
then I don't know. I mean, I kind of saw Hollywood kind of I think the Hollywood that I experienced is a little bit different than the Hollywood that's now
Oh,
being
very much
experienced.
so. Very much so, of
So,
course. You were in
I don't
a
know.
bit of a heyday, let's say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
know what
get
I
you.
mean?
Yeah,
So,
how incredible that
you
you
know what
had
I
the
mean? So, like the
Yeah.
idea of going back, and then I was like, oh, okay, well, it's not going to be like I had. So, do I really want to step into that?
How mature
And then I'd be
to
like,
see that.
maybe next year.
Yeah, that's really, really though, seriously, I give you major kudos. There's like a maturity that took place there that a lot of people don't, they're like, no, I've got to go back. That's my thing. That's everything. And you were able to like, I don't know, treat it just as you said. It was something that happened and you kept yourself still grounded and that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, and I think what it was as long as it was something that it was always something first and foremost for me to enjoy, and then the thing was, and then all the other stuff that was around it was just like, other like aspects of it,
Right.
but the
Right.
cake of it was just so now that I was doing yoga and doing, like I found another
Yes.
cake. Does that make sense? So like there was this fulfillment in something else that I was doing. So I was exploring that. And I do tend to do that. Like it's funny. I'm now 25 years into yoga, but it's
Hmm.
funny how I'm now starting to think about what's my next cake. Now
Yeah.
it may be doing, I mean, like I was thinking maybe of doula, like doing doula or even like hospice. I know that sounds crazy, but
My wife did doula. I actually
oh,
understand it.
okay. So I had a doula. I had a completely natural birth, and it
Yeah.
was unbelievable. But it was at UC. It was at Cedars. So I did it in a hospital, but I
Sure.
created like a birthing center within the hospital,
Yeah.
and I was able to have everything the way I wanted it. But in case something went, I was in a hospital. I
Of
wasn't about to
course.
like do it at home, but
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
totally like non-epidural, no epidural, nothing even on my arms. You know what I mean? Like they even tried to
Yeah.
give me that
Sure.
hep
I
lock,
understand.
like just in case something happens. I'm like, no. I'm like, if something happens, you can stick me, but until then, I don't want to be stuck. Thank
Yeah.
you. So just things like that. So doula. So your wife is a doula.
Well,
Yeah.
she
So
was. She was.
she
She's
was,
no longer, but she
but
was. So I
that's
know what that's
amazing.
about.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then I was there for my, fortunately, I'm going to say fortunately, but unfortunately for them passing, I was actually there for the moment of the passing, literally the moments for both my father and my stepmom.
Mm.
And I'm telling you, it's an amazing moment. It's
Yeah.
just like birth. I mean, it's just incredible. So a part of me is like, and I don't think a lot of people can do that. Like, I think, like that, like being there, being able to be there for somebody in that
Being
transition or that
present in that
moment
moment. Yeah.
is its own thing. And I
Yeah.
feel like I'm capable of that. I could do that. So, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just thinking about stuff,
I
like,
understand.
yeah, like what's my next cake, and it may be it may be doing something in entertainment again, but in a different capacity. I mean, I probably want to do comedy or something
Yeah.
or theater or, I never did theater. I don't know. I mean, I have no clue. I have no clue, but I am thinking about, you know, what's to come.
Yeah.
But I do know that my sister was like, come on, Tonya, they're finally streaming Knots Landing. People want to hear from you. Figure out a way to
Yeah.
meet people. And I'm like, you're right. I just disappeared. And, I did what I did, but I do miss, I miss you know, like the fans and being, um, being, reminiscing or
Yeah.
sharing because
Yeah.
we do the acting but there's the audience and we all
Right.
experience the same show together. You need it all to have the experience.
Yeah.
So you know yeah, so like, and then I love, like, when I did the Hollywood show, these mothers were bringing their daughters, right? Because the
You're
daughters
right.
were watching the show for the first time.
Yeah.
Because when it's streaming, these moms are like, oh my gosh, not signing streaming, you got, this was my favorite show when I was your age or young,
Exactly.
right? So I'm just like, like that to me is so cool, like that's happening. And so I want to be a part of that.
Sure. I
So
got
yeah,
it.
so I know that that's something that's happening. But where it's going to go, I don't know. But
That's okay. That's the beauty of it.
I'm so enjoying it.
Yeah. By the way, looking back at the show, were there outside of the one that I mentioned, the drug, uh, the drug issue, and she was at the bedroom door and tore the door. But were there other episodes that kind of, stay in your memory that you really loved?
Yeah, I mean, there was a few that were very, like, I mean, the Peter Hollister episodes, I mean, where he gets murdered and no one knows
Mhm.
what happens to him. And, those were, it was kind of interesting because it was very like, the storyline was we had to portray, we had to pretend like we didn't know what like, it was interesting to play like a mystery, like a murder
Yeah,
mystery.
yeah, yeah. It'd
Yeah.
be
So
fun.
I
I'd
thought that
love
was
that.
kind of, yeah, exactly. It was kind of an interesting like version of creating a scene that had to be used for that purpose.
Hmm.
So that was kind of that those episodes were fun in that way.
Yeah.
And then I think when I was younger, obviously playing some of the stuff about the divorce, and also I can't remember the reason, but I'm on a boat. I'm like on a little canoe, and I'm somehow I'm really upset. I can't remember the like. Is it someone's? I think someone's dead. Maybe do I think Gary's dead, or I actually should review that for other
I,
interviews.
I'll
But
give
I
you a little
remember being
leeway.
in this canoe. I remember being in this canoe and just feeling, I remember preparing for that scene. It's so weird. I cannot remember the storyline. I'm sorry. But I
Don't
remember
worry about that.
where I had to go emotionally. And I'm in a canoe and someone's on a dock and they're talking to me and I'm breaking down. And I remember being nervous about having to really break down as an actor and like, can I do
Hmm.
this? And
Hmm.
I remember what I used as something that was personal, right? And then I went into my imagination but I used something more personal to get the emotion, but then I
Hmm.
used my imagination. But now it's so funny because I don't remember the storyline. Normally I remember storylines really well because I've done the
Sure,
imagination work,
sure.
but I think that one may have been more methody for me, more emotional. So maybe that's why I don't remember, because I had to really go someplace private
Hmm.
within myself to break down like that. And, you know, a real pain that I had in that time of my life. And so that was also, I would say that episode,
Hmm.
um, that I'm unable to tell you the storyline of,
That's okay.
but I
Believe me,
do remember me being in a
uh,
canoe. But yeah, so there's quite a few episodes, quite a few other storylines that were interesting. And then Val stuff, me with Val, that
mhm.
was always nice. We had that beautiful little like friendship where we played off each other with different storylines.
Anyone in
And
particular that you can
well,
think of? 'Cause-
wasn't there the one where like I knew something about, like my mom knew something about her babies? There was like a secret that was
yeah,
being kept.
I
Yeah.
do think you're right. Yeah.
And something like that storyline was interesting because I was torn, so I had to play like where my loyalty stood. But yet
Hmm.
my character was always about integrity and, I was like the honest Abe. Um, so, um, I remember that storyline being pretty interesting for me to play because because the characters, how they cross, the storyline made it complicated for me as a character.
Right.
Olivia's life got more complicated because of these cross interests, right?
Oh
Of
yeah.
different people in my life that I care about, all of them, and what am I going to do?
Hmm.
So that was also interesting.
Well, and
Yeah.
anytime you're playing across from Joan Van Ark and something like that, you better have your game on.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Everybody was so talented. Like all I had
Yeah.
to do was just really show up, which was great. And they really helped me to be so much better.
Did you, by the way, it's so funny when you said, look, I went something personal and I did my imagination. Did you actually have acting classes at any point that even instructed you on that, or did you just do this yourself?
That was my natural thing, but then it was funny because I did find a class later on. So
Okay.
I did take acting classes as a child, and
Hmm.
I would do my own kind of thing. But I would they would teach us methods and stuff, and they
Yeah.
would kind of mix, like a lot of these child acting classes kind of used a bunch of methods,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
I liked. So I kind of took from a little bit from here, a little bit from there. But I always had my imagination work that I did kind of on my own. And then I found this woman, Diane Castle, who was like, I think she even called it the imaginary something with imaginary,
Oh, how
or
funny.
yes. And I found her like in my 20s when I left Hollywood, but I wanted to still continue my craft.
Yeah.
So I did take classes, even though I professionally took a break.
Yeah.
And I found a class that I was like, oh my God, wow. I mean, she took what I did and just like, I mean, it was a lot deeper than I
Uh-huh.
ever even thought I could do. I mean, and it was a lot of like interesting things that she brought for me to do. It was almost I mean, I was like, whoa, I don't know if that's a lot. It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
But but it was still, yeah. So I finally found a teacher that actually did do matched me. And I found that also with my yoga. It was interesting. Yeah. And now I do my own method. But originally I went from Bikram to Iyengar, and Iyengar was much more my what I was taking Bikram and I
Yeah.
was doing Iyengar like things. So then when I found out that there was a method called Iyengar, and then I went and took that class, I went, oh, this is more my thing. And
Yeah.
then
Who
I
I
took
am.
that
Yeah.
and then I expounded on that for myself and for my students and my clients and my, my private work. So, but it's interesting how it happens like that,
It's
right?
always interesting, the
Yeah.
whole pathway, how it
I
goes.
know.
Now,
And
the
like, what fabric you're cut from,
oh,
like,
totally, totally. And
yeah,
I
like,
get it, by
like
the way.
like I'm,
Yeah.
like I'm cut from the same fabric as you. I'm not cut from the same fabric as you, but I like who we associate with people, same fabric and not the same fabric.
Oh,
And
totally.
it's awesome. Both are great.
Yeah.
You know, but when you do find that same fabric thing, it's kind of
It
interesting.
feels good. Yeah. I could
Yeah.
never do that hot yoga, but yes, I give you a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
credit on
yeah,
that.
yeah. And people just,
Um,
yeah, me too.
yeah, it was kind of intense. So the you were also on Who's the Boss?
Hmm.
And what was that experience like, obviously, with that cast? I mean,
Yeah.
ironically, I think you mentioned Alyssa Milano earlier. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I did work with her, yeah. And then Tony Danza,
Yeah.
and then there's Judith Light, right?
Right.
I mean, and then Catherine, what was or
I can't believe
Catherine
yeah.
Harold, right? She was from
Here,
Soap.
was it
Catherine
Harold?
Harold something Harold,
Yeah.
I
Oh
think.
my gosh, I can't believe.
I mean,
Well,
talk about a world class theater people, dude.
great. Yeah.
So when I went on that set, I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, they were tight in a cool way. I mean, they were really family. Like they hung out on the weekends and
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, they had a really, I mean, from what I could tell, they had a really, really tight
Mhm.
but there's only like four of them. And when they see that's different. They work together every single day. When you do a sitcom, you're doing script reading that, they do 5 days a week
Yep.
in front of an audience. You're literally like a theater group, right? In
Right.
front of the audience. So I feel like that I like had Knots Landing people done that kind of show, we probably would have been even more, more
Yeah,
bonded
tight.
and spent more time together. But
Sure.
you get what I mean? But
I
because
do.
the way we shot, our sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
Your
Our
schedule.
Yeah, like the way
It's a
a
drama.
drama, yeah,
Yeah.
a drama, exactly. So yeah, the schedule, it's very different, very different. So but Who's the Boss? I like that was such a cool experience, especially in front of the live audience, because that was really scary, but
Oh,
in a
I
good
bet.
way. But I was terrified. Yeah, but once I did it and I survived it and and it was a great time, I was like, wow, well, this is pretty cool. Like there's not I kind of thought how like why musicians do what they do,
Oh,
but there is
exactly.
something about the interaction between people and just being in like, oh, I mean, yeah, I'd only done TV. Um so yeah, I think or maybe did I do Benson, but I was little and I didn't have a big role. So I may have done Benson before I did, which was also in front of a studio audience, but I
Yeah.
don't recall that experience as much as
Right.
Who's the Boss. But Who's the Boss was definitely my first sitcom in front of an audience experience.
I
Yeah.
gotcha. What, by the way, there was one in there were two actually in your resume or whatever that intrigued me. Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. And
Yeah.
the reason I went there is because you've got River Phoenix.
Oh yeah. And we were a little item for a little bit.
Okay, come on. What?
Yes, we were. But at 12 years old. At 12 years old, right?
Sure, but I'm
Yeah,
impressed. I didn't know
we held
that.
hands and we got, we crushed on each other before he was River Phoenix. And, it was Leaf Phoenix, not Joaquin.
Oh,
So
right.
his name was Leaf originally. And so so River had the role with the brothers, and then Leaf and his sister Leaf, and she's also an actress now too. Oh my God,
Hmm.
not Summer, but oh my gosh, who's now Joaquin, but Leaf and who's the other sister? There's some. Oh my gosh, I
Yeah,
can't
I
believe I'm
can't
forgetting her
remember.
name.
I
But
can't think
anyhow,
of who
the
the
sister,
sisters, but
and
somebody will
then
tell
me.
me in
So
the
there were
comments.
three of us. So the three of us played a family in this episode. I played the oldest sibling, and then Joaquin, at that time Leaf, and then the other sister played. We all played. So they hired Rivers siblings to play and me to play this family in an
Oh,
episode,
wow.
right? But
Wow.
that's how I met the Phoenixes. Yeah, River and that whole family. We ended up becoming close. I mean, being friends.
Yeah. Did you stay friends until he passed?
No. Up until, I mean, there was a time where we stayed friends, probably until he was about 14 ish, maybe 2 years,
Yeah.
2 or 2.5 years, something like that. And then we just kind of, I think he really became like big at that
He
time.
got huge. Yeah.
So, and then, yeah, so I don't know.
How
And
was
then I
he
was
at the
doing my
time you
thing.
knew him? What kind of person was he?
Oh my gosh, he's adorable, like kind and loving and very, I wouldn't say shy, but like a little
Hmm.
like not extroverted, introverted,
Right.
but yet, but deep, and also just deep, like
Hmm.
thoughtful, thought about things. And he was a musician. A lot of people, I mean, he was that whole family were musicians, and they
Wow.
sang and they played music. And yeah, he was a very, very unique person, very soulful, very deep. And I like that because I was like that too. It was nice
Hmm.
to have someone at that age, because we were like 12,
Yeah.
13, but we could really relate on a deeper level. And that was fun, just to have like
Hmm.
those kinds of conversations, just questioning things and being, you know, wondering and curious, very curious guy. I'm a very curious person, and
Yeah.
he was a very curious person. So it was nice to be curious together.
Yeah. He will always be one of my favorites. I just thought he was
Yeah.
incredible.
He
Rare.
was incredible.
Yeah.
But it's funny because he grew into it. Like, I'm not saying he wasn't great, but he didn't really. I mean, he didn't. There were actors at that age that seemed better,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know. But it was funny. He was finding his way. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he was
Yeah.
growing into it. But at that age, he was good. But he didn't. What he became as far as an actor was like. He just. I don't know, whatever happened,
Yeah.
but he
Yeah.
just took himself, somewhere, so you could tell he was capable, but he wasn't doing it yet at that
Sure.
age,
Sure.
which is, understandable. But when he did,
Wait,
it's,
took
yeah,
off. Yeah, that's for
yeah.
sure. And
Hmm.
by the way, Richard Dean Anderson, any exposure to him at all with that show?
Yeah, well, what was interesting, the other guy that ended up
Peter
being in
Horton?
30 something, Peter Horton, he
Yeah.
ended up okay, so he was the actor, but he directed our episode.
Oh, he did, because I know he was a
Yes.
director. I'll
So
be
he was the
darned.
director of our episode. Yeah. And that was fun. Because I think it may have been his first or his second. I don't remember. It was definitely, he was new to the directing thing and very excited about it. So
Yeah. He's a nice guy, at least in my
very
experience with him. I
nice.
met him many years ago, and he was
Very
a
nice.
very nice person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good guy. And we shot that kind of out in the boondocks. I forgot where, but it was someplace, maybe Oregon even. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it
That
Oregon or
sounds right.
something? Yeah. So I always loved, like, when I had a location shoot, that was fun. Like, I like being on location.
Oh, yeah. The
Mhm.
other one was Call to Glory. And I'm sure somebody's like, what was
Oh
Call to Glory?
gosh.
But you had Keenan Wynn, Craig T. Nelson in that. Do you remember this?
I do. You know what? The Call to Glory, that's on my resume.
If it
I,
wasn't, that's okay. But
no,
it's on there. And I was
no,
like,
it's on there, but I
Keenan
think
Wynn?
maybe I had an itsy bitsy part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's the
I
one where
don't
he's
have,
like the Air Force guy, or he's in
yeah,
the
I don't have that many, but I
services.
do have memories of Trapper John M.D. because I worked with Larry Fishburne.
Oh, get out. He was
Oh
on
yeah,
Trapper
Laurence
John?
Fishburne. It was like
Really?
one of his first roles.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, that was really cool. And I did some stuff with Richard Pryor, like a commercial or something. I remember me, hanging with Richard
What?
Pryor, which was amazing. I mean, yeah, I've been, like, I've had some really cool experiences with
Well,
some legends.
working with, not, I mean, Richard Pryor, if you have any memories, I'd love to hear that. But Larry Fishburne, my God.
Oh yeah, no, he was awesome, and he was great. Like he definitely stood like, and we played off each other because he he played one of a few gang members that took on this little girl because I think I it turns out I drank out of, remember how the show was always about like the mysterious medical condition?
Of course,
So
yes.
my mysterious medical condition was lead poisoning from an untreated, like a ceramic cup, but it didn't have the glaze. So I was
Yeah.
drinking lead.
Oh my gosh.
But somehow I got in a vulnerable position, and these gang members had to take me in and bring me to the hospital, right? Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
So Laurence Fishburne was one of the gang members.
Oh
That,
my
yeah,
gosh.
I think it was like 19, 20, 21, 22, somewhere in there.
Oh my gosh. The only other one that I saw too was Chips. And
Yes.
yeah, do you any recollection
Tow truck
of that?
lady. Oh yeah, that was really fun. Well, because I did like kind of some of my own stunts.
Did you
That was
really?
I tried to. I mean, there's a few stunts I couldn't do, but that had to have a stunt double. But yeah, there was a few that I was able to. They were like, okay, you can do this part, because I wanted to do as much of the stunts as I could. But
Yeah, I bet.
yeah, so like and Erik Estrada was super, and also I forgot the other guy's name.
Larry Wilcox.
Yeah, Larry Wilcox. But I think Larry directed it. If I'm
Oh
not, I think
wow.
Larry was the director of that episode because he did direct some episodes,
Yeah,
right? And
I
then
believe he did, yes.
and then Poncho, right? Erik Estrada took me. I'm on his couch. I'm like this little girl that's on everyone's couch. Now that I think about it, all these episodes, I'm like being rescued by somebody. So Poncho rescued me in that episode, and like we have this funny scene about a toothbrush, right? And then I open up the drawer and there's like a lot of toothbrushes, and I'm like, why do you have so many toothbrushes? Because he was known as being a little bit of a, right, like a
Yes. Oh yeah.
bachelor. So they wanted my character to like tease him about his bachelorhood. But yeah, so I get pulled like in the tow truck. There's this one scene where I get like there's this big magnetic thing that goes onto a car, and I'm hiding in the car, right? So I'm hiding
Oh
in the
yeah,
car,
yeah.
and then this tow truck, like no one knows I'm in the car, and I'm hiding, and then this big magnetic thing goes on the truck and starts to lift it up in the air, and then they realize I'm in the truck, right? So like that was, I could do partial, like I could go up in the air like a little bit for one take where I had to like pop my head up and do whatever, but it only like was up like 8 feet. But
Yeah.
then the actual big view of the lift was done through a stunt double, which was like 20 feet in the air, something like that, right? So little things like that,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was fun to like, I could do that one part of the scene. And
That-
yeah, and then like I remember them shutting down all of like 101, some big, I guess they were known for doing that, the
yeah,
freeway.
oh yeah, definitely.
But to see that, like, because I did a lot of freeway driving when I was younger. So I
Yeah.
was used to being on freeways. And I remember being like, whoa, like that freeway shut down, like it was like impressive to me.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That like this show could like shut down. It's always interesting as an actor or as a person on a set, not just an actor, but a set, whoever, anyone on a set. There is sometimes where I feel that you kind of have to take it in and just be like, wow, like the way they make things happen
Yes.
for sets, and it's kind of pretty cool. Like it's kind of big where you're like, they did what,
Uh-huh,
So,
I agree. And how many
I
people
always
it
think,
takes?
oh my God, what it must have been like to do that Ferris Bueller Days Off scene
Oh
at the
my
end
God.
where he's on the truck,
Yes. Oh yeah.
But like, I don't know, just little things like there's so many iconic movie moments where you're just like, what it took for them to shoot that
Uh-huh.
in these cities, but for me, that was my big one, like, Chips, freeway closure.
It sounds good to me.
But
Jeez.
in the moment, I was like, this is really cool.
Were they both pretty cool to you, Erik and Larry?
Yes. Yeah. They were so sweet. Very
Yeah.
sweet. I really have, I kind of sound boring, but
I don't think you do.
or maybe, meaning I feel like I've been lucky, or maybe I just block out the ones that weren't good. Like certain experiences, I do have a tendency to do that.
It sounds like you've done pretty well.
I just go, oh, okay, well that happened, but move on.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I really think about it, I don't feel like I have that many, memories of just like really, bad
Mhm.
experiences. Thank
That's
God.
good
But
though.
yeah, I think so. But
Yeah.
I think overall, I think those are the exceptions.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I do think that those are the exceptions. I think the majority of that industry and the people that want to work in those industries
Right.
are super creative, super cool, want to
Hardworking. Yeah.
hardworking, just like it makes for like a good environment for the most part. Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree. Hey, I got to tell you, thanks. You went through so much. You shared so much.
Aw,
You were
you
so
were.
open. I loved it.
Aw, thank you. It was my pleasure. And thank you
Yeah,
for asking really, I mean, like making me remember and go to places and think about
please.
things.
Yeah, no, totally, totally. So much fun. And it's cool to hear that perspective. And I got a lot of respect for you too, for the fact
Thank
that you
you.
were able to just step away and, not have these big regrets or whatever and taking on life. And I don't know. It's just very cool. So
Thank you.
thanks. I appreciate it. But yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
bunch.
Thank you so much, John. It was amazing. I really appreciate
You
this.
got it.
Okay. Have
Yeah.
a good one.
Bye-bye. Hope you enjoyed the interview. Please don't forget to hit the subscription button and also hit the notification bell right after that so that you get notified whenever I have a new episode. And be sure to check out some of my other interviews. Henry Winkler, Jerry Mathers, Angela Cartwright, Shelley Fabre. It goes on and on. They're so great. Enjoy.